Hello, and welcome to another episode of On Public Square. We have a Veterans Day special today, leaving our usual every other Friday schedule to talk about Veterans Day. I am joined by two of my coworkers who are both veterans, and we're going to just talk about them and talk about working for the city as a veteran. So we have our Chief of Staff, James Halford, and our Codes Enforcement Manager with Building and Codes, Bob Kendrick. Welcome, gentlemen. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, y'all said that in sync. That was cool. I guess let's just start as we always do with introductions. If Chief, we can start with you. Just tell us what you do for the city, how long you've been here, and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name's James Halford Jr. I am the Chief of Staff here at the city of Clarksville. Ever since 2019, when Mayor Pitts was elected, I am homegrown, Clarksvillian. Grew up over in the Red River community, not very far from here, and stayed around the area until I went off to college. From college, went and worked a little while at Fort Campbell. Got called to active duty, went into the Air Force, and stayed there for about 6 years.
Perfect. And for those who don't know the Red River community, that would be sort of where Frosty Morin is, sort of that area between Austin P and Craft Street, yeah?
Correct.
Wonderful. And Bob?
My name's Bob Kendrick. I'm the Code Enforcement Manager. I've been with the city since 2005. I was born and raised here in Clarksville. Left here right out of high school, joined the service. Been around here and there, and I was raised in the Bel Air subdivision, which is off Peaches Mill Road.
Mm-hmm.
There, when I was growing up there, it was nothing but a field across, and then that all grew up and everything else. They extended the Del Terrace Drive. That's where I lived at.
And we have a lot of Northwest graduates over here, I do believe.
Yes.
Wonderful. I grew up out at Central, so I'm a little ways out. But Bob, I kind of just want to start with you because we finished one of my favorite United Way campaigns that we have every year, the Bob Father Biscuits and Gravy. How did you get started with that?
Well, I started working with a gentleman. He retired from the city. We started doing all the cooking for the department, and once he retired, I kind of took over his reins and just been cooking ever since. And we just came up with the idea one day that that's what we want to do for the fundraiser, is just do the biscuits and gravy. So we started that, and then of course the Bob Father. They knew I liked the Godfather movies and everything else, so they just come up with a nickname with the Bob Father.
I suppose that answers my second question. I was going to ask if you're a big Godfather fan, and if so, which movie is your favorite?
I like the one with the original. I'm trying to think the actor's name.
Brando?
Yeah, Marlon Brando.
One of my favorite actors.
Yep.
The Wild One is one of my favorite Marlon Brando movies. Great actor. Very cool. Yeah, and this year you even had a tux.
Yeah, they've been after me for 2 or 3 years to do the tux and everything else. So I went and checked out the prices on them, and they wanted a fortune to rent them, so I just went ahead and bought them. So I can have it. I can have it for next year.
There you go. There you go. I had to miss this year. I had ordered and everything, and then my kid was sick that day, so I told Valerie to just give them to the next person in line.
Yeah, I thought I was just going to be down there at the office, but no, they wanted me to deliver up to the city hall here, so I had to come up and visit a few departments.
There you go. No horse heads in the
No, they suggested that. Yeah, bring the horse head. But I said, no, it'll be a little much.
I love it. What's everyone else's favorite United Way fundraiser? Bob Father's Biscuits not included.
I think the down there, because we all like to cook, and the ladies like to cook too. They like the Spring Street Sweets bake.
That's a good one.
So that's one we try to participate in that also.
We like to eat at the city. I think there's no shortage of food opportunities. I like the pancake breakfast over at CFR. That's always a good time.
Yeah.
In particular, on this floor, everyone's got a sweet tooth. Between Chief and the mayor, there's always sweets around.
Well, it's a dangerous thing to be chief of staff or mayor and have a favorite. So they're all my favorite. All of them are my favorite. My favorite is when Kendra has those
the bread.
Cakes, the bread.
I don't know what we're gonna do when she retires next year without the bread sale.
No, we can't. We gotta. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to pull her out of retirement so we can get some more carrot cake. But that's among my favorite. And I like the flocking with the flamingos.
The flamingos has been fun. For those who don't know, our finance and revenue department, their United Way fundraiser this year is you can pay them to donate money to have a flock of plastic flamingos to decorate someone's office with. And if they want to get rid of them early, they got to donate.
They got to pay. Yeah.
It's been pretty good. I've loved getting all the photos and sending out. They've been having me do a migration report for their flocks of flamingos. But no, that's been a good time. They're doing pretty well with it. They've hit like 12 offices now.
That's a good deal.
Mm-hmm. Going back to chief, chief of staff is a position we hear a lot about in government. I think maybe more so in recent years, where I think before that, chief of staff might have been a little more background position, but now you hear talk of chiefs of staff at various levels of government. What is a chief of staff?
Well, I think it's a mixture between in the military, there's a specific role for a chief of staff. And some of that has morphed into the political arena as a chief of staff. But typically, the chief of staff is like the chief aide. So depending on who the leader is, that chief of staff could be the gatekeeper for the mayor or for the commanding general. But that chief of staff is almost like the chief confidant. They know what it takes. They know how to filter the information. They know whether or not someone needs access and why they need access, and it more or less helps the leader kind of shape their administration. Mm-hmm. So the chief of staff is kind of an all around handyman, my man Friday kind of approach to it, and it varies depending on who you're the chief of staff to. Mm-hmm. So the leader is the one who shapes and dictates what the chief of staff does, what he or she needs from that chief of staff.
Didn't Radar take over the role of chief of staff in MASH in his last season?
Yeah, Radar took over the role of everything. He was chief of everything.
Or I guess we're Star Trek fans. That would be number one.
Number one.
Yeah, he's chief of staff, or Chakotay, or any of those.
Number one. Whoever number one is, they kind of handle everything other than the absolute command. But yeah, they keep things operating. A lot of organizations, business organizations, may not have a chief of staff. They'll have a chief of operations.
Okay, so those terms are sort of
they're very close to the same thing.
Okay.
But typically, it's a position that is customized for the particular leader. So being chief of staff here would be different than being chief of staff for even Mayor Golden. So Lee and I are both chief of staff, but we have to customize our approach depending on who the leader is.
Yeah. To that end, you do essentially function as Mayor Pitts' right-hand man. In a lot of cases, you're at a lot of the same events. If he can't go, you sometimes attend them.
Right.
How'd you two get to know each other?
Well, actually, the mayor was functioning kind of quasi in a governmental position. Now, he's been chief of staff before here in the city.
For which mayor?
Don Trotter.
Don Trotter.
The mayor was the chief of staff for Don Trotter. I had not met him. I had met Mayor Trotter, but later on, Mayor Pitts was actually working on a redevelopment effort. And so I was in the community, kind of active in the community. So I came to speak to the council, and we worked together to shape or reshape the direction that redevelopment effort was going. And that was back in 2008, 2009. We stayed in contact. He was also a House of Representatives in the State House, and he helped us to do some things there in our area. And so we kept in contact. Later on, I served with the First Lady as a member of the advisory board for the Matthew Walker Clinic that is here in Clarksville.
Great organization.
And so we worked together then, and even later on for the Matthew Walker board there in Nashville together. So we've known each other ever since 2008.
Wonderful. Why do you think you two make such an effective team? Because you do.
Well, he'd be the one to answer that, but I don't know. I guess I was trained by my dad, and when I was in the Air Force, I had a 3-star general that he used to pick me to be his co-pilot, and both my dad and this particular general said that your responsibility when you're a subordinate is to work the boss's problem. So so it's my responsibility to know what those issues are and then figure out a way to resolve that so the boss doesn't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that, along with I guess just we have similar personalities,
Mm-hmm.
and so I kind of it's kind of like simpatico. I can feel what he's thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have an idea of what he will prefer or what he won't like.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, I'm like the brother that he never had. And so we kind of work together like I'm the older brother, and so I kind of talk him off the ledge or give him some advice or advise him, and it seems to work.
Yeah. And you're not the only one who has known the mayor for a long time. Bob, you and him went to school together, right?
Yeah, we graduated Northwest together, 1976. That's how long it's been.
Lots of Northwest alumni around here. You've worked for the city for quite a while and have seen a lot of different leadership pass through. I'm always curious what's that like. I've only worked for this administration so far. I've been here coming up on 4 years, but what's it like seeing that transition over time of different leadership and different like the changing of hands as things move forward?
Well, it's just a matter of learning their personalities and learning what they really want out of
Mm-hmm.
their leadership and everything else, and you just follow through.
Mm-hmm. Having seen a variety of styles of leadership, then what have you seen that works best or particularly well or anything?
I would think the hands-on, getting involved with the employees and all that. That's the biggest thing. He's not one of the type directors or supervisors that get in their office and stay in their office and don't have any contact. But the ones that we have now really working really well. They're trying to get involved and making sure that things are running smoothly for the department.
I can agree with that. I like that. Very good. Chief, you've mentioned corporate roles and roles in the business world a little bit. You're very much a strategy guy. Since I've known you, you talk a lot about sort of the overview strategy of how to run a city government in that organizational way. And we spend a lot of time, but you have a knack for that sort of top-down view like organizational strategy through things like the city department heads get together for T3,
Mm-hmm.
which is an ongoing project to create sort of a overall organizational strategy. And there's the development through like Solutions 21, which is some leadership training that department heads go through. Why is all that stuff so important?
Well, T3 is a phrase we coined. It stands for transform, transcend, and what we're trying to do is move from where we were to where we need to be, and to continue to improve. I'm passionate about it. Actually, it's been part of my career and my life's work for over 30 years.
Mhm.
Even from the time I was in college, and when I was in college at Tennessee State, there was one. We were in a quarter system, but it's like the semester system now. And there was one quarter where I was the cadet commander for the ROTC. So we had about 450 other cadets, other students, and we didn't have a strategy. So even back then, I put together the first strategy for the ROTC department there at Tennessee State, based on just my major. I'm a business major,
Mhm.
and so all the way back in the 70s up until now, when I was in the Air Force, I was a planning officer in our flight. When I got out of the Air Force and went to work for General Electric, I worked in plans and strategic plans. When I worked at Fort Campbell, I was a strategic planning officer for the garrison. So it's been my life's work. And even outside of just my day-to-day job, I've been a consultant. And when we were consulting, we've worked with Norfolk, Virginia, Detroit,
Mhm.
Chicago, Denver, helping those cities or their educational departments, their school systems put together strategic plans. So it's important, because without a plan, there's no direction.
Mhm.
And so it's anybody's idea. Different departments wouldn't be working together as one unit. From time to time, you've heard us call city government, the enterprise. We are an enterprise.
Mhm.
And so even though we've got individual departments, all those departments collectively are the enterprise of the city of Clarksville. So we have to work together to produce the products and the services that our stakeholders want.
I know, just like I know you know even better than I do, how much of a challenge it can be to, with so many departments spread out across quite a bit of distance,
Hmm.
to keep everybody working towards the same goal, because we're not all in the same office. And then even Bob, you're a little bit down not far, but still down the street. We're not always in the same building, so it is a lot of moving pieces. But I always think of you as the guy with the binder. You know all the moving pieces. So.
Well, we all, but my job is to try to make sure that everybody, even if you don't know the specifics about another piece, you know that there is another piece, and you know how you connect.
Yeah.
And so I think it's worked very well. What do you think, Bob? I think it's worked well the last 6.5, 7 years.
Yes, yeah. Before, years ago, is if you needed something from another department, it was hard to try to get somebody to help you and everything else. Now, since this initiative has really started, I've noticed it really in the last 2 or 3 years is that, we can go to a department and, they help us, we help them, without, and I think part of that too is we're getting to know more of the people that are in the departments and everything else. And then so that way you know who to go to and ask for help. But it has gotten a whole lot better than what it was.
Good.
Our communications team, Jimmy and I, and working with all the departments, Valerie and our folks all across the departments. I feel like I've noticed a change too since in the short time that I've been here, doing things like people contributing more to the newsletter and sharing when someone has a baby or gets married or their grandkids won a ball tournament, and just little things to remind everybody that we're all on the same team have always been nice.
It feels like a big family, where before it was just like bits and pieces. It was all.
Yeah, I mean, Bob's been here through several administrations, so you've seen and you've experienced what it's like when each department is like a stovepipe, and so except for maybe even the department heads periodically meeting together, you could be in your department and not have any idea what's going on in another department.
Yeah, the department heads they would know what was going on, but the subordinates wouldn't know what's going on. But right now, I think it's opened up more, and they're seeing more, and I think it's made a big difference.
Good.
I think so too. Good. So we are overall here. This is a Veterans Day special. We've talked about a handful of other things, but I'd like to get on to our main topic. Both of you, of course, served in the Air Force. I'd just like to hear from each of you. Tell me a little bit about your experience in the Air Force and as a.
Well, I mean, mine's a little bit more unique. I served in two branches. I served in the Army the first time when I got out of high school. Stayed in for a little over 3 years, and then got out. And then I had a friend that was a recruiter, and he recruited me into the Air Force. So I went into the Air Force. And so, like I said, I'm a little bit unique. I'm two branches, but I did the same job. I was in the communications field. So
Okay. Oh, cool.
Yep. So
Might have to wrangle you in for communication stuff.
I was in a communications center. If I was at the Army was basically tactical. I stayed out in the field. The Air Force was mainly fixed station. So I was in a building and everything else. So it's a little bit different. I like both branches, but I would think the Air Force had better facilities and better food than what the Army had.
Very good. You got to be careful. Fort Candle's right down the street.
Yeah, well,
well, we'll talk about that too. What about you, Chief?
Well, I come from a family that has a mixture. I was just thinking about it before I came over. I'm a veteran, but so are my brothers. One of my brothers is a retiree. He's an Army retiree. My youngest brother is an Air Force veteran. My father, all my uncles, all my in-law uncles, all the way back to my great-great-granddad were military veterans. So it's just part of our fabric to volunteer for military service. Nobody had to be drafted. Everybody, even when the draft was going on, my dad and my uncle went and volunteered and signed up during World War II in Korea. So my service just comes naturally. it was one of the reasons why I enrolled in ROTC was because needed the funds to help to pay for college.
There you go.
So that was a way to help to pay for college. But after graduating from ROTC, there was a delay because I'd already started flying even in college, and so there was a delay in going on active duty. There weren't enough slots at the time in undergraduate pilot training, so I had to wait for a few months. And so from June of '74 for about 9 months, I actually worked at Fort Campbell.
Okay.
And so what is now, at the time, they were building what was then the new commissary. It's no longer a commissary now, but they were building a new commissary. And because I had some project management training, I wound up being the interim project manager for the new construction for that, at that time, the commissary. Happened to go into work one morning after about 9 months with a telegram on my desk telling me to report in 2 weeks to go on active duty at the Air Force. Had to get that delayed for about a month, and then I went on active duty in the Air Force.
Very cool. Of the aircraft you've flown, what aircraft have you flown? I'm curious.
T-37s, T-38s, F-5s, and what is a T-39? It's equivalent of a Learjet now.
What's your favorite that you've flown, and then least favorite?
Well, if you're a flyer, there's no least favorite.
Oh,
every plane is an individual, but you love all of them when you're in them because you want them to fly. So you don't want the plane thinking you don't like it. But my favorite is a T-38 or an F-5. Matter of fact, you've seen a picture of it in my office that one of the airmen kind of painted a picture. I like it. The astronauts use it to breeze around the country. It's kind of like a Corvette. It's real narrow. You got to be a skinny guy to be comfortable in it.
I'm out.
No, you could fit in. It's just tight. But I liked it, and it was fast. It was a supersonic. There's still some air forces around the world that still use it.
Very cool. That's something I've always thought would be the coolest thing ever, to learn how to fly. And I so know that I am not built, like my brain is not built for what I imagine is quite a bit of like keeping up with a bunch of moving pieces. I know I could never.
Well, I mean, I was an instructor, so you can teach almost anyone to fly, but they have to speed up. You have to be ahead of the plane. So when the plane is covering, 10 miles in a minute or 20 miles in a minute, then you have to have already thought about what it is you're doing right now. So your brain and your thinking is past that. But if we could train you to do that, then anybody can fly.
Very cool. Any others? Bob, do you have any stories you'd like to share or anything?
Well, like I said, I had several jobs, different jobs, one in the Army, one in the Air Force. Air Force I really liked. I was on the honor guard and did a lot of the traveling to help support their families and their needs and everything else. So I really enjoyed that. And then I got to go to Egypt.
Oh, wow.
I spent 6 months in Egypt where that was I really liked that because I got to go see, during our breaks, we could go see some of the sites and everything. I got to go to the Valley of the Kings where King Tut's tomb is at, all the tombs there. And then I didn't want to go to Cairo because you had to get on the Egyptian airplanes. And then when them guys would land, they kind of landed funny. So I didn't want to get on their plane. I said, nah, I don't think I'll make it back or not. So I stayed away from Egypt. But King Tut's tomb was really the unique.
I bet. I would love to see. I love history. I studied. I went to school for English, and I studied like Viking literature, Northern European mythology and literature and poetry. And I'd love to go see some of the castles and the valleys and fjords of that. And Egypt feels the same way, where it's just this place that's just soaked in ancient history. It'd be so cool to see.
Well, I was over there in the early 80s, and you could see where the Sphinx were, where the Nile River used to be, how tall it and how deep it used to be. And it's just nothing. It's almost looks like the Cumberland River now, when I was there and all that stuff. But you could see where all the slaves in their mountains where they stayed when they were building all the tombs and the temples. But King Tut's tomb was the one that had the tomb was the smallest of all of the tombs and everything else, because back then they designed the tombs by how old you were. And King Tut was the 17-year-old. He died when he was young. He had the most artifacts, but he had the smallest tomb. So it was a unique, really good history.
Very cool. I guess that is one benefit of service. You get to see a bit of the world. Chief, if you have any places you've been to that stick out?
Well, I guess what sticks out is the time that my service time there in Washington, D.C. I was in the presidential wing as a VIP pilot.
Oh, wow.
So we spent the time there at Andrews. My children were born while we were there. Got to fly some VIPs. At the time, the Secretary of State, our representative to the UN. I was in during the Carter administration at the very beginning of the Reagan administration. So, it's a different kind of service. It's a different kind of living around Washington, D.C. at the time. And that's been a long time, but it's still, it's not like being anywhere else in America.
Fast moving place.
Well, it's fast moving, but they're kind of isolated. And I think that's part of, like the issues we're going through now with the government being shut down. They're insulated. So they're like, they're not like us. They don't feel it the same way. It's almost like they're on an island and everybody else is somewhere else.
Last time I was there, we stayed on Embassy Row. It was really cool just to hang out around an area that has culture from all over the world. DC's a cool city.
Did you get to see the Russian embassy?
I don't know. I don't think so. We were really near the Polish embassy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. You'd known it if you'd been around the Russian embassy because it has satellite antennas and all kind of listening mechanisms all around. So it looks like it doesn't look like any other embassy. Yeah.
No, it was really. I haven't been in a while. We made the mistake of going around for the 4th of July. Last time, too packed. Never again.
Never do that.
I learned my lesson.
You should have gone when the cherry blossoms were blooming.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Yeah. I went my first time going. I won that essay contest that Clarksville Montgomery County Schools do. That CEMC hosts the Washington Youth Tour. That was an awesome experience as a kid.
Yeah, if you can go any other time, go in the March-April time frame when the cherry blossoms are around the reflecting pool.
I've been there. Yeah. It's really it's unique. I mean, it's something to see.
The ones in Nashville are beautiful, but the ones I'm sure I haven't seen them in DC, but I bet.
Oh yeah, they're great.
So I know Fort Campbell, and we've talked a little bit already about Fort Campbell and Air Force and Army, but this is an Army town in a lot of ways. It's no secret that Fort Campbell, a lot of people end up staying. We are very much a veterans community here in Clarksville, Montgomery County. In fact, I think we have one of the highest populations of veterans per capita in the country. I'm going to have to look that number up.
In the country, in the region, we have one of the largest populations of veteran and retirees.
I was talking with Andrew Kester a while back. He thinks we will be the number one before too much longer.
Yeah, it'll be hard because, there's still military town USA is San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
And so everything is bigger in Texas, but outside of them, we probably for at least a region of up to 50 to 150 miles. Yeah, we probably have the most veterans and retirees of any place.
So we have the perspective here of two folks that are homegrown veterans, but we have a lot of people that come to Fort Campbell and stay here. Why do you think Clarksville is such a draw for people who are getting out of the military?
I'd say part of it's cost of living, plus, I would say the relationship we have between the city and Fort Campbell and everything else. We're all close knit.
Right. I'd absolutely agree. Yeah, Clarksville knows how to accommodate military families probably better than any other city. Maybe Fayetteville, North Carolina, they might argue with us, but but we're the best. But I think it's the unique lifestyle that's here. I talked a minute ago about DC being like a unique place, but we are unique in that we know how to support each other. The active duty, the retirees, the veterans. And so this is a community that's kind of customized for the people who are here.
Mhm.
I know since COVID, we got a lot of folks who have moved here from other areas,
Mhm.
and I think part of the reason why they're coming is because of the quality of life that we all have built here.
Mhm.
They want to be part of it, and it's going to take them a while for them to understand, but we're working on them.
I think we as a community invest on all the levels to make it a good place for folks who are stationed here and then say, "Oh, this is a great place to live. I want to stay."
Mhm.
I even in my age bracket, I have a lot of friends who have decided that they had a short stint in the army and decided they liked it here and didn't want to end up going somewhere else, so they got out and just kind of stayed here. Um,
I think
yeah.
part of it is especially now is Clarksville tends to grow in spurts.
Mhm.
And if you catch it at a time when we're in a growth spurt, then industry and
Yeah.
job opportunities grow to meet the
Mhm.
population. When I was a kid, population stayed around 22, 25,000.
Yeah.
Then there was a growth spurt, jumped to 40, 50.
Oh, even
Another
in
growth spurt jumped to 75,000.
mhm.
Now that with the region, Clarksville and Montgomery County, I mean we're over 200,000, but
Yeah.
we also have industries that have come here and that are coming
Mhm.
that provide the opportunity for people to be able to earn a decent wage
Oh, sure.
and have a cost of living that they can afford and have a
Mm.
decent lifestyle.
You weren't here years ago when I was in the service. I would always look for people's tags and it would tell me what county they were from. So,
Mhm.
at the time I was in, we were the ninth largest county in Tennessee. I
Mhm.
think we're probably getting ready to be fifth,
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
we are the fifth, and
probably going to be the fourth
We're coming
soon.
for you,
yeah,
Chattanooga.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
coming for Chattanooga. Yeah.
So, that's how they used to do the tags and everything else. They would have the actual number on there. So when I was at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, I would always see a Tennessee tag and I'd look, oh, okay, you're from Clarksville or you're
Mhm.
from, Murfreesboro or
Mhm.
Nashville. So it was
Mhm.
unique, but they don't do that anymore.
No.
Yeah. You
No.
Chief, you speaking about explosions in population, even in I remember even like the 2011 flood, I remember pre and post that, it felt like that was a big growth spurt time, and then there was another one maybe like I moved back home. I left Clarksville for 6 or 7 years for college and then got married and, we lived in my wife's hometown for a couple years, and coming
Mhm.
back, it was just like, "Whoa."
Yeah, it was different, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Quite. And also I grew up in the county out near Centrals and then moved back and lived in city limits. It was
Mhm.
almost culture shock. Um, but no, I've been glad to be back and see Clarksville grow. And you speak into industry, a lot of those industries are really well suited for folks with military experience to take that experience forward.
Right.
Especially like aviation with stuff with this new helicopter aircraft that the 101st is testing
Yeah,
and
yeah, we're gonna be the home for the brand new vertical lift.
mhm.
Uh, Fort Campbell's gonna be the home for that. So over the course of the next 10, 15 years, there's gonna be another growth spurt. I happen to sit on the airport authority, and we are making plans to be able to support that. There will be
Oh.
private contractors that will be coming that won't house on Fort Campbell, but they can
Oh,
house
wow.
there at the airport. So there's going to be
Mhm.
another spurt, another
Mhm.
another growth spurt, particularly on that side of town.
Is Bell making that aircraft? I'm trying to remember.
I've forgotten who it is, but yeah,
I'll look it up later.
okay,
But and then of course Austin Peay's really invested in their military services with the new building and
right.
new programs. It's really cool to see. Uh,
Matter of fact, they have an aviation program,
yes, they do.
they have a hangar out at the airfield.
Mhm. Going back to, of course, Clarksville being an army town, we talk a lot about the army here. How's that different from the Air Force? Is it very different?
Well, Bob's in both of them, so
Yeah.
you heard what he said about it. There's a difference in the culture. Yeah, I mean, we in the Air Force we try to take a little bit better care of our people. We have a different outlook on that. We believe that you take care of the people, they'll take care of the job, and that's not that the Army doesn't do that. They just do it in a different way.
Mhm.
I, I think one differences when I had and everything else, the Army had older facilities, and it takes a while to get all that stuff changed over where the Air Force would be in more modern type buildings and everything else. That was the difference there. I kidded about the food. The food was all about the same. It was. Yeah, it's
In
still
military
it's
food.
still still a little different and everything
Yeah,
else. But
it was only a cut above the hospital grade food, right?
I should have brought. My dad loves those YouTube videos of the guys that try different MREs. I should have brought us some to try.
Yeah, no, you can keep those.
Yeah, you can keep the MREs. Yeah,
I don't need them.
they're a lot better than what they were when I was in the early '70s, but they're still
It's
MREs.
still MREs.
I saw
That's
one of
right.
those videos where a chef tried MREs from different countries. They ended up deciding the French military has the best MREs because it's got like fresh cheese and fresh bread. It was kind of neat to see like different countries, like cultural, what they value and something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you could. Our MREs aren't like that. They're much better than when we were on active duty, but they're still MREs.
The one he opened from France had a little pack of cigarettes in it too, which I thought was interesting.
Now, when my dad was in the Army for 10 years, and he would bring and you probably remember the chief,
sea rations.
The sea ration with the cans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we would get them from my dad, and then then they went to the different MREs, and they're the ones that had the cigarettes in it and the pack of gum and some matches
and chocolate. Yeah,
so,
pieces of
totally
chocolate.
totally different than what they are like now.
Oh man, very cool. And of course, keeping on the subject of Campbell, I suppose we have a lot of partnerships with them between us and the city. I guess Building and Codes was really involved in a lot of this too, and then of course the city in general was. I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about just soldiers supporting Clarksville as the overall community. We joke a lot about it really being Fort Campbell, Tennessee, which we claim them a little bit, but
well, most of the land area is in Tennessee.
It's about where the post office is, right?
It's about where the post office, and just so happened that the post office is now more on the Kentucky side, but the post office was barely across the state line.
Oh goodness!
Barely across, and so now it's farther across, but it's still only because the post office is on the Kentucky side.
We're getting the museum though, so we're
getting the museum,
and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But could we talk a little bit about just how? And I kind of want to use the tornado a few years ago as the example, I suppose. There's plenty of times that the Army through Fort Campbell has really stepped up for Clarksville as a whole. I mean, I know a little bit about it sitting in on those situation report meetings of they loaned trucks and manpower to clear debris. And do y'all have any insight as to that sort of the role that the Army played in helping with that disaster?
Well, on almost any situation when we need help, they're available. Now, of course, there's some limitations, and they may have to go through Department of Defense to get some permissions. But I mean, they helped during the time when we had the flood back in 2010, 2011, when we have any kind of an issue where it overwhelms us, and they always offer their help. And when we need it, we give them a call, and then vice versa. There are times when there are things that we can do to help help them out. And so it's reciprocity.
In particular comes to mind a couple of incidents in the past couple of years where soldiers lost their lives in an accident, and the city helped to lend space to honor those soldiers or otherwise provide what we could to help those families.
Right.
And I know that's a somber topic even still. But I appreciated getting to be part of a community that was willing to step up and support those folks, even if it's just encouragement and empathy and sympathy.
Bob, did they help with the cleanup after the tornado in 23, didn't they?
I think so. And we would coordinate with their, like I said, their command or whatever and all that stuff to get everything. So and then besides Fort Campbell, then the community stepping up too, and us going through, especially that last tornado that we had and everything else. It was a major.
Yeah, it was a major disaster.
For that.
I really like, I was listening back to, I was working on a thing for the mayor's visit to Nashville to Second Harvest Food Bank. And in his comments, he gave a quote that I really liked that kind of comes to mind at the moment of when there's a need in our community, we roll up our sleeves and do the work as soon as there's work to be done. And I think those are all really good examples of that. And we like to have a little fun sometimes too. The broomball games with
Right.
the Army versus county, or
Right.
those are good. General Winsky was always great in those. He's back in town helping with the museum, isn't he?
He is. I think he's the leader on that right now, and they're moving forward. We
Love it.
expect that thing to be open.
Let's actually, I've mentioned it twice. We'll move that up a little bit. Wings of Liberty Museum's coming right up. You can see it now from the road. It's a great looking building. Some interior renderings of what it will eventually look like have been released. It's really cool. Um, what's this going to mean for Clarksville having this new museum?
Well, I think it's going to attract more visitors to the area. I think it's going to give people a reason to come if they hadn't come to Clarksville before. It's going to add to the things that we already have that we can feature. It's out there on post, but there won't be any issues getting to it. You won't have to go through the security gate to get to it. You can drive directly to it. But it's also out there at Fort Campbell. There's some other things in the area. We know we've got the casino and the racetrack just to the north. So I think it's going to attract a lot of more people to the area and add to all of the offerings that we already have. I know we have youth basketball and in the summertime and those kinds of things coming from the area.
It's nice to see some of that kind of growth for North Clarksville, and between those and the recreation center that's in its early stages, but it's coming. There's a lot of good things coming for North Clarksville.
Right.
I love to see it. Anything in particular you'd like to see as an exhibit at this upcoming museum?
Well, I think as long as they transfer some of the things that I've been used to seeing, we're still, we're far away from World War One, World War Two, in particular in Vietnam. But I think if they give us, still feature some of those things, but also bring us into the modern era with what the Army's doing now, the war there, the 1990-91, and then even some of the more recent things to keep the public aware of what it takes to protect our freedom.
I think I heard that the lobby will feature the Black Hawk flown and the operation that apprehended Bin Laden.
Okay.
I think I heard that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. But there's going to be a full range of exhibits. And I think they've got more than enough exhibits for the space. So I know that over time they're going to rotate some of the exhibits.
Very cool. And of course, there's an older museum on post that a lot of that stuff can be brought forward to the new facility. I'm guessing that building will be repurposed or somehow retired once this new one opens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder
if it's the Army way, they just repurpose it and keep using it. So it'll probably be around here for my great grandson. But
very fair. Very cool. Yeah, and of course I did want to plug real quick. We do have the Veterans Day Parade coming up. This will be out a few days after that parade. The mayor will be walking in it, and our Suicide Prevention Alliance folks will be walking in it. We have a lot of great events that are military and or veteran focused here in town. I want to just plug the Gold Star tree lighting ceremony.
Okay.
If you're not familiar, if you're new in town, look into that. We send out invitations for it pretty soon, I do believe. I'm working on the text for the cards right now. And of course, we have Wreaths Across America, which is in early December. It's a wonderful event. And I believe right now, if you buy 2 wreaths, you get a free one to sponsor. But we need something like 300 of them last I looked. So if you're listening, I'll link in the Wreaths Across America donation link, and please take a look at that. We, at our Riverview Cemetery here in downtown Clarksville, we have, folks buried there that have participated in every armed conflict the U.S. has taken part in, going all the way back to the Revolutionary War. If Angie Sykes, that's what she told me,
right.
I believe.
Right.
It's really cool. The ceremony is wonderful. All branches are represented. Yeah, it's just really good. Am I forgetting any events or things that we could plug in this space?
Oh, I don't
think
I don't
that's
know that you are, but
primary.
everybody needs to know we've always got events going on.
Oh yeah, of course.
We've got events going on throughout the city uh, for the benefit of all of the stakeholders. So, I mean, just take a look at the Parks and Rec calendar.
Mhm.
There's things happening. We've got, I know Bob's connected with our Restoring Clarksville
Mhm.
initiative.
We just put an episode out on that with Justin and Councilman McLaughlin. That was really good. Talked a lot about C-Click Fix.
Yeah, well, we're working on that RCI. That's a big thing for us right now, and getting it off the ground. We've got most of all the kinks worked out to where we can identify, and especially working with the police department. That's our big goal too, because trying to cut down crime and these areas that really need these houses tore down.
Y'all have done excellent work with RCI over Building and Codes. I've been really impressed. It's a lot to get off the ground. It's a big initiative, and y'all have been doing a great job with it, I will say.
We're, like I said, we're almost there. We just got a few more little things, and that way everybody can get in there and look and see, what our progress is and what we're doing.
And go back and listen to that episode with our Building and Codes director, Justin, and our councilman, Deanna McLaughlin, and learn all about that and learn how you can use C-Click Fix. We have a house in our neighborhood that I put in recently that's been abandoned for some time. I think it had burned down. It's not much of a house anymore, but I put it in just to learn how C-Click Fix works a little better. But yeah, great stuff. Moving towards the end, I like to end on something fun. Chief, you are a big Star Trek fan. I don't know if you are, Bob. I know I am, and we've talked about we've talked about Star Trek quite a bit. I already know the answer, but which is your favorite series? Which captain, which ship, and why?
Well, I guess my favorite is the Next Generation. That's when it really blasted back on. But I can go all the way back to the very beginning of Star Trek. So, fortunately, now with being able to watch, I can watch all from the very beginning, every one of the series, and I got to get caught up. I think I'm caught up on the most recent, but I like them all. And not just for their entertainment value, but a lot of times there's a moral story there. So I like the stories.
It's the world I hope we're working to is the thing I like about Star Trek. Councilman Zacharias had a lot to say about this. He said he was going to have to nerd out with you about Star Trek sometime.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I mentioned it being a consultant. Sometimes one of the things that I and a lot of other consultants do is sometimes pick movies or television series and use them as teaching tools. So many times I have used some portion of an episode of Star Trek as a teaching tool.
I love it. Bob, are you a Star Trek fan? Or more Star Wars?
No, Star Wars was kind of when they did the first series of Star Wars, the 3, and then they went back, then they went forward again. That kind of just. But Star Trek, yeah, I like the Picard.
That's my favorite too. Picard is my favorite captain, though Deep Space Nine and Cisco are not far behind. That really changed the formula for Star Trek.
I was reading about that this week, though, and out of all the captains, he was the least, because eventually he made captain, but out of all of the captains, he was the least well liked among the Trekkies.
Yeah, he was a little. I think there's several reasons for that. But as a generous one, he was a little more militant than the others. He came in hating Picard, I think, was an interesting choice to start his character off.
Yeah.
One of his first things was, I hate Jean-Luc Picard.
Maybe that's what it was, but he was among my favorites. But I like them all. I like them all. I like the different characters, I guess.
I like them all, but then when you go back to the beginning and everything else, some of them kind of like look kind of cheesy,
Yeah.
And then you go back to, then you get to the more modernized ones and everything like Picard and all that stuff. So I'd say Star Wars or Star Trek, because I watched it for years and years. And then when they did what was the one where William Shatner and
when they started doing the movies,
Nimoy, when he died and came back.
Yeah, it gets confusing at a certain point.
Right.
But no, my favorite thing with Cisco, the episode that I was like, okay, he might be my favorite now. It was pretty late in in his run in Deep Space Nine. There's a time where they're pursuing someone, and he's like, "I will blow up this planet if you don't like calm down and get back here." And they're like, "You're bluffing. You Federation captains, you always do this. You don't ever do things like that. You're bluffing." And he's like, "Fire."
Follow through. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that one was good. Very cool. Well, thank y'all for being here today. Before we sign off, I do also want to plug with everything going on right now with the government shutdown. I don't know if the shutdown will be over by the time this comes out. Hopefully it will be, but it's hard to say right now. Even if it's not, the effects of this are going to be felt for a minute, for a good little while, honestly. Tens of thousands of Clarksvillians are affected right now, many of them active duty service members and veterans. So I just wanted to plug, if you look on our website, and I'll link it here, we have a resource hub with all sorts of great programs and facilities and organizations that are here to help. If you are able to donate to those organizations, whether it be Mana Cafe or Loaves and Fishes or any of the many, many faith-based organizations in our community, I encourage you to give what you can and help how you're able. But on top of that, if you're in need of help, I urge you to seek that help. There's lots of people here who are ready, willing, and able to help. And I'll plug all of those resources here as best I can. With that, Bob, Chief, is there anything you want to add?
Don't want to add anything. Just say thank you for the opportunity, and everybody should be willing to serve. You don't have to be super smart. You don't have to be super strong. Just be willing to serve.
Love it.
Yes, it's been a pleasure coming up here and talking about all this. I really enjoyed it.
Well, I appreciate y'all coming up, and I appreciate everyone listening. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next time on Public Square.